to kind of show some tackling, some toughness, some effort. I challenged the guys before the scrimmage. The three things I wanted to see was great effort, great toughness, and great competes. I want to see the guys compete, and we're going to try to put them in some situations where they got to compete ones-on-ones, some situations where it was ones versus twos, which we hadn't seen much of, and see how they respond. And, you know, I thought that the effort was good, but I do not think that we're where we need to be organizationally. You know, we took too long getting out of the huddle on offense, and defense, we had some substitution areas, and it just shows that we got to do a better job as coaches of getting off the field and letting the players play, because a lot of the players couldn't play on their own, couldn't execute on their own, and we got to make it a little bit easier for them. But I did think the effort was good. I thought the toughness was good. We've got to show the ability to run the ball a little better on offense. We did have some good explosive passes, which I think is always important. And it's not good on defense, but it's good when you get a chance to do that on offense. Because, you know, we're a long way away, but it's the first scrimmage for us, and we'll sit down as a coaching staff, analyze this really close, look at it, probably look at some guys maybe at different positions moving forward, and try to find out where exactly our depth and our rotation would be with the O-line and the D-lines inside. But I'll open it up for questions after that.
Coach, just start off with the quarterbacks. What did you see from each one of those guys, and did each get time with the first team? Kind of how did that work?
So we had a rotation set up. They didn't each get time with the first team, but both Grayson and Bryce did. So we kind of went 50-50 with Grayson and Bryce with the ones, and Jacob went 2 racks with the 3s, but then we let Jacob go with the 2s during a couple periods as well. But Grayson and Bryce both kind of did expected. You know, I want Bryce to manage the huddle a little better, be more efficient, get the call out, get the line faster. I think Grayson's doing a nice job of managing the huddle right now, the call, and executing the play. He's got to be a little more mobile in the pocket, got to be able to create a little bit more and get out of there and make some throws. They both led the offensive units down and scored at times. You know, Jacob was probably, for him, it's his first chance to really go in the stadium in a live situation. He was a little nervous early, but as he progressed, he did some good things. He made some throws. You know, the 3s, I think, had 2 or 3 big plays on the 3 defense, but we also had some wideouts out there with the 3s. I know Riley Ridley and Shakiri Wilson both made good plays with the 3s, and they got on top of the 3 DBs, let's just say that. So the 3s made a couple explosive plays with Jacob in there. But, you know, I think we've got to improve at that position. I think we've got to help the guys at that position with the way we call it and help them out getting in and out of the huddle to be more efficient with that kind of thing. But, you know, we didn't have a lot of sloppy center quarterback exchanges, which happens sometimes. We didn't have a whole bunch of delay of games. But those are the things you worry about in the first scrimmage organizationally.
You said, Kirby, you said you want to help them get out. You're talking about the quarterbacks or the receivers?
I'm talking about the quarterbacks, getting in and out of the huddle, communication, wristbands, signaling, all the different semantics that we got to do a better job of. And we try to simulate that in practice, but it's always easier to yell over there from the sideline when you can't do that in a real game. So it makes it a little bit tougher for the communication. And I enjoy being out there as the head coach, standing by the huddle. I'm listening to the words coming out of their mouth. I know if they're enunciating it right, and if the O-line's hearing it, and the receivers are getting out of there, and there's mass confusion at times, we can't have it. So as coaches, we got to do a better job of making it easier for them so they can be successful, and they've got to do a good job of getting that word out and getting it out of the huddle fast enough so we don't have these delay games in the different situations. They kill your drives. They make it hard to run the ball when you're starting off 1st and 15.
How's Bryce responded in terms of that challenge you gave him a couple weeks ago?
You know, I think he's tried hard. I think he's trying to be a better leader and command the huddle. You know, I would reserve judgment until I see everything on film that he did today to know. But I know that when he's in there, he's got to command the presence. He's got to lead the huddle a little bit better and do a better job of getting us in and out of them. That's what Grayson does best right now.
The fact that Jacob's not getting any reps with the ones yet, is that representative of the mountain he has to climb on being a true freshman and trying to compete?
Right, and right now, obviously, the young man has a great arm talent, but sometimes arm talent can get you in trouble if you make poor decisions. And we're trying to make sure he's doing the right progression, doing the right check, and throwing the ball to the right place. You know, he's had several times he'd do it the wrong place, but he made a hell of a play. You know, you don't want to take that out of the guy. You don't want to overcoach the guy, and I think Coach Chaney does a great job. I sit in some of those meetings, and he tells him that, hey, look, this is not really where you're supposed to do it, but you did a great job. So as he earns that, he'll get a chance, hopefully, to move up and get a chance with the ones. But right now, when he goes with the twos, like he had a session today, I think, where he went 2s on 2s during third down, and they executed, made some plays, made some throws in there. Now, I'll say this, he's going with the twos, but the wideouts, because we have to go fast, we roll guys in there. So, I mean, he completes the ball to Terry, he completes the ball to Reggie, and some of those guys are one wideouts, so he's throwing some one wideouts in there, making some plays, but it's mostly the 2 O line and the 2 D line when he's in there.
You were more encouraged by the passing game than the running game today?
Very much so. That's very true. We did not run the ball efficiently. Now, we didn't run it a whole lot because obviously we got a situation at running back. You know, it's a situation where we wanted Sony to get, 8 to 10 carries. We weren't going to go out there and run Sony 22 times. And same thing with, we wanted Tay to get, 15 to 20 carries. And then, Brennan is still a little injured. So we let him carry it, but we were not tackling Brennan today. So obviously when you give him the ball, it's not really fair to the defense because they got to tag off on him. So that running back situation made it tougher to run it, but I still feel like to be a productive football team, we're going to have to be able to run the ball first and then throw the ball down the field. And we're not where we need to be physically running the ball, dominating up front like I'd like to see the team do it. But we did throw the ball, when I say efficiently, the 60 to 70% range. We were able to hit those goals with the quarterbacks. So we're giving them throws that they can make. And it was a little windy out there too, I'll be honest with you.
You seem okay with where the quarterbacks were today. Is that
When you
about
say where they were.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're like, it doesn't
We
sound
made some
far.
plays in the passing game.
Right.
We had a lot of plays that we've been called back that we didn't stop the clock because we went over Thursday, went over the shot clock, and that's frustrating. You know what I mean? We got a lot of room to improve. I like the way we threw and caught the ball, but I didn't like from the time they got the call to the time they were at line of scrimmage.
How do you develop that with, like a guy that's as maybe type B as Bryce is or whatever? How do you develop leadership?
I think I talk to him about it each day. It is not natural for him to go in there and then huddle and command that and do it. I think other people around him have got to help him. I really thought that Sony today in that huddle, he stepped up, and I kind of got on him at the start of practice because everybody was kind of, we're starting to practice at a different time today. I didn't have class today. It's a different routine. When you change routine, you always wonder about where your team is. So we changed the routine, and it was like people were ho-hum, like walking through, and kind of got on a little bit. Sony challenged them, and first couple drives, the offense against the second defense, they moved the ball and were very efficient. And I think that Bryce needs those guys in the huddle, the Isaiah Wynns, the Brandon Cablanos, the Sony Michels, to help him out with that command and that rocking and rolling and that get in and get out of the huddle.
Talking about running the ball, flip it over to the defensive side, how did you feel about the way you guys played the run and did those things?
Well, it's hard to say because I don't know if we got to see it enough. Statistically, they did a good job stopping the run. But we didn't have a lot of run opportunities. Some of the periods were set up 2-minute, third down. Those are passing situations, trying to improve the passing game. In the regular move the field stuff, I felt like those guys stopped the run when we had to. We had a couple of stands on the goal line that were good. The offense probably should have ran the ball on in, and the defense bowed up and stopped them. So they showed some good resiliency out there when it comes to run stop. We just gave up too many plays on defense, too many big plays.
Kirby, was it ones against ones against twos?
As far as the scrimmage,
Yeah.
the format was 1s, 2s, 2s, 1s, alternated, and then we had periods situationally,
Okay.
third downs, red area, 2-minute where it was good on good, 1s on 1s,
So it
2s on 2s.
ones against the second team defense and
No.
flip-flop?
So we did 1s versus 2s, 2s versus 1s for a
Okay.
move the field segment. So we had that. Then we came back situationally where we had third downs, we had 2-minute, we had red area that was good on good. So it was 1s versus 1s, 2s versus 2s. So throughout the scrimmage, you would say 50% of it was good on good, 50% of it was 1s on 2s, 2s on 1s. And we also tried to get some kicking. We had kicking situations throughout the game too. So we had some punts, we had live punts, we had some kickoffs, some kickoff returns to look at some guys there and try to measure those guys and be able to see. The wind was blowing out there, and I did think that Rodrigo did a nice job with field goals, and he had one hit the upright he didn't make, but for the most part, it was we got it off. We got it snapped, held, and off. So that's the first goal for the field goal team. We got to get it through the uprights now, and that's the next step. But I guess I was being a pessimist and a little worried about the field goal thing, but those guys kicked it well, and it was windy. Like I said, one of those kicks got blown wide right that he hit pretty good.
Is anybody laying wood out there today that really stood out?
I would say, and the Trez was flying around. So was Reggie Carter. It was great to see those guys. And I thought defensively, now we ran to the ball. which was the big emphasis for Coach Tucker. He was like, hey, look, any mistake you make is on me, because we've been too complicated if you're making mistakes. But you can run to the ball. That's one thing that doesn't take talent. You can run to the ball, and I thought they did that now. We got to get the offense going over there to protect their skill players from getting peppered by the D-line and linebackers. And we got to get more guys covering down.
Speaking of wideouts, you mentioned Riley Ridley. He's a guy that's, I think, a great intrigue for everybody. He kind of swooped in late and got him in recruiting. Not only got him, but got him here early. You obviously have a relationship, I guess, with his brother and stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's fitting in and that he's working with the third team at least.
Yeah, he is. He rolls in there with the he rolled with the twos today. It's kind of a second with the twos, and then he went with the threes as well. I do have a good relationship with his brother, and his brother was very adamant that he wanted Riley to come here. I can't really tell you why, but he I don't know why. I mean, he just wanted him here, and I'm glad he's here. He's a competitive kid, and he's tough. He's got to work on his vertical speed. You know, he's not a super fast guy, but he's a kid from South Florida that is not afraid to compete. He blocks. He tries really hard, and it's important to him that he does well. Where he's really impressed me the most has been special teams, uniquely enough. I mean, he's playing a wing on the punt team, which is not normal for a receiver. And they got to block big guys. He sticks his face in there and does a nice job. So I'm pleased with where he's at. You know, those is it 5 or 6? Y'all always correct me on the mid-years. 6. Those 6 mid-year guys, with him being the 6th, I guess. Those guys, you know, it was the first time for them that it was big boy ball out there, and they had to tackle and hit and do everything. So those guys, I think, did a nice job. You know, Isaac had a couple catches, did a nice job. Jacob did a nice job. Ben Cleveland did a nice job. Julian did, and even Chad got to play a lot of snaps. So that's an awakening for them when they get out there and see how fast it really is.
Was Isaac used similarly to Riley, bouncing between 2s and 3s?
Isaac Nato?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does the same thing. He'll go with the 3s every rep, but he'll go with the 2s rotating in. I mean, when we go to our 2 tight end sets, he rotates in with the 2s. And he's picking things up fast. He's a really smart kid and doesn't struggle to get the game mentally. So.
What do you think of your tight end groups and your tight end group and kind of you know, how they'll fit in with this offense?
Well, every time I've had to play against Coach Chaney, part of the reason that I was so intrigued in hiring him is he uses those tight ends so well. You know, when he was at Arkansas, he had the Hunter Henry kid, but he had another kid. I forget his name, maybe A.J. Derby or
that was it.
That guy was special. I mean, he outran one of our safeties at Alabama for a touchdown, and he uses those guys. He flexes them out. He uses them to chip and help offensive tackles. He's really creative how he uses the tight end. So I don't think that we've gotten in 9 practices all the way down that road as far as the total offense and moving guys around. But, you know, we still got, whether he's a receiver or tight end, the Warren kid, you know, is coming in. So we're going to have a talented group out there that we can use a lot of ways and trick defenses and try to help ourselves. So I'm pleased with where they are catching the ball. I'm not pleased with where they are blocking. You know, they've got to be more physical at the point of attack, and they've got to try to help us open the run game. Because if they give movement, you know, it's easy to run the ball behind them.
Now, one more. When you talk about, you know, evaluating players, maybe from different positions, just find some more depth at running back, maybe find some guys to play there, is there part of that equation?
Whew. Yeah, it definitely is, and it's tough because, you know, we've had some injuries at receiver and different things, so that would be where we pull from. We talked about that before. It's hard to pull from that area. You know, we've got Nick Moore, who's more of a fullback, but he's done a nice job playing at tailback and helping us out. But I don't know where we're going to pull from. We talked about using a wide out for some tosses and different things to look at them, but it's really not fair to them when we're trying to develop them as a wide out. So it's a tough decision as far as the running back, but we've got to be able to run the ball better. And, you know, we got to practice stopping the run on defense. So when you don't have guys to tackle, you know, it makes it hard. So we're trying to address that area, not only in recruiting of 2017, but in every area of the program, whether it's walk-ons or finding another guy. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.